Okay. Let's speak now. I'll just read.
It's okay. I've been told I have a big mouth, so I think you guys can be able to hear me, hopefully. Can anybody hear me? Everybody good? Okay, great. Okay, they want me to use this. That's better? Okay. First, thank you for coming and sharing this moment with us. Thank you, Mayor Clifton, members of council, our board members, and our family, and of course, all of you that decided at 4 o'clock on Thursday to share this moment with us, and all the people who volunteered and has made this day possible. If you can indulge me, I'll just do a brief, not so brief, but a brief presentation. I call this opening day. Sean was a big baseball fan. When he was younger, he looked forward to opening day for Major League Baseball. He, as well as our entire family, are Yankee fans. You can do now if you want. Sean started throwing a baseball when he was about only 18 months old. And I mean, he threw it. Sean was a great basketball player, but he was a phenomenal baseball player. We all thought he would play college baseball. But Sean wanted to go to the University of Delaware. And the baseball coach at UD was not showing him any love. However, the basketball team did show him love. So he chose to play basketball at University of Delaware, so he could stay in his hometown of Newark. Sean loved living and being part of this town. The old Yankee Stadium was built in 1923. They called it the house that Ruth built. This house was built in 1900, 23 years before Yankee Stadium. This house has seen many changes in our town of Newark. Sean lived in this house for 3 years, his sophomore, junior, and senior year. This house has stood the test of time. It is 120 years old. Today we're here to name this house Sean's house. And some have said this is the house Sean built. But that would be a mistake. This house has been built by all of you standing here today. This house has been built with the power of love. The love that each of you have shown with your time, your financial support, and your dedication to the SL24 mission. Some of you did it for the love of Sean or his family. Some of you did it for the community. And some did it because it's the right thing to do. However, all of us did it because we have all had a Sean in our lives. A person we've loved who lost their will to live because of mental illness. The Sean in our lives that we did not know was suffering so much that he or she felt suicide was the only solution. Before we go any further, let us have a moment of silence to remember our loved ones we have lost to suicide and mental illness. Depression is a real thing. Depression is a disease. Having depression is exhausting. Kevin Love, the famous NBA basketball player who has been suffering with depression for a long time, said the following: when you're in a dark place, everyone around you, or your friends and family, they just want to see you do what you love. Be happy. be the old you. But what people on the outside don't always understand is that it takes all of your strength and willpower just to exist. Battling depression, battling anxiety, battling any mental illness. It's all just so unbelievably exhausting. As I was preparing for what to say today, I went to a couple different sources to help me put my thoughts on paper. Two of the sources may seem a little unusual to all of you. The first was a bedtime book I used to read to Sean when he was a kid. Now, some of you may be thinking Dr. Seuss, Francine Bears, or some other kid's book. But that wasn't the book for me and Sean. The bedtime story I would read to Sean was The Life You Imagine by Derek Jeter. See, that was Sean's favorite baseball player. He modeled himself after Derek Jeter. And this morning, I opened it to page 24, because that was his number. And I found the following. But you never really know what is lurking in front of you if you've never experienced it before. You really never know how difficult the next step is going to be. See, people with depression, like Sean, or like the Seans in all of your lives, really do not know what is lurking in front of them. That is why it is so important for us to create a safe haven to help young adults, help them take the next step to getting the assistance they need. The second source to help me today is a journal that Sean had to keep when he was 11 years old as a student at Mount Aviot Academy. There are 3 entries that I'd like to share with you. I think it speaks volume to who Sean was. September 22nd, 2005. The question is, describe your worst enemy. Sean wrote, and he's not the greatest writer, so there are some grammatical errors. The Boston Red Sox. They're not a good team. I hate how they play. I think they cheat. They use steroids. Most of the time, they start fights against the Yankees. They have no reason to fight us. The next day, September 23rd, 15 years ago yesterday. What is the best part of fall? The best part is playing football in the leaves. I love getting tackled in the leaves. I always play with my family. And then on September 27th, 2005. How do people know when you are upset? I usually don't talk about it, John said. I never talk about it. I'm sensitive. I don't like getting upset. I want to be happy. See, Sean never hated anyone. The only thing he could come up with was the Boston Red Sox. And let's face it, it's easy to hate them. Sean loved fall, and how fitting that we are opening the house in his name at the beginning of fall. But what I like about the second entry is not his love of fall or football, but what he wrote. I always play it with my family. Sean was all about family. That is why he always lived in Newark. His family was here. The third entry, answering the question, how do people know when you're upset? He talks about how hard it is for him to show his emotions even at age 11. But he says, I want to be happy. Isn't that what we all want? But see, The disease of depression robs the person the ability to be happy. It is an insidious disease. Sean's House has been created to help young adults who are struggling to find happiness. Steve Hyde, one of our board members, said, "Sean's House is revolutionary. Something like this has never been done before." Another board member, Carl Gerigi, said, "We're kind of building this plane as we're flying it." To a certain extent, both are very true. Sean's House exists because all of us, and I mean all of us, see a major problem with young adults struggling with mental illness. We've all heard about the Seans, the Matts, the Zacks, and the Jeremys, and the countless other people we have lost to suicide. And we're here today to say we want to stop this disease from taking other young adults in our community. I could sit here and go through all the various ideas and programs we have for Sean's House, like Year 24 support, and the doctorate students, and all the other ideas that we'll be doing here. But I think the better way is to read you something. Some of you who knew Sean knew that Sean's favorite singer was Justin Bieber. It's one I consider the greatest failings of me as a parent. But he wrote a song, Justin Bieber wrote a song that I think crystallizes what Sean's House is all about. The song is called "Life is Worth Living." And it goes like this. Ended up on a crossroad, tried to figure out which way to go. It's like you're stuck on a treadmill, running in the same place. You got your hazard lights on, hoping that somebody would slow down, praying for a miracle who will show you some grace. Had a couple dollars and a quarter tank of gas, but with a long journey ahead. Saw a truck pull over. God sent an angel to help you out. He gave you direction, showed you how to read a map. With a long journey ahead, say it ain't over, even in the midst of doubt. Life is worth living. Life is worth living. So live another day. Know the meaning of forgiveness. People make mistakes. It doesn't mean you have to give in. Life is worth living. Again. Sean's House is the rest stop on the long journey we call life. Sean's House is the place you stop to get a cup of coffee and be put in the right direction. Because life is worth living. So now we're here at the point of cutting the ribbon. A ribbon cutting ceremony is a moment when we reflect on something special, a new beginning. Choosing the person or persons to cut the ribbon is very difficult to do. It's like creating an invitation list to a wedding. Each of you, standing up here and down there, is worthy to cut this ribbon. It would take me another hour to recognize all of you for the tremendous help you've all given to make Sean's House a reality. Please know our family and the board of SL24 all greatly appreciate all that you have done to make this day happen. I could have chosen the board to cut the ribbon. I could have chosen the mayor, the city council, or the city manager, or a beautiful and fine Newark Police Department, who I am indebted for forever. could have chosen all the trades who have worked here over the last 99 days to make this house so beautiful, or the countless volunteers who showed up after a hard day's work, who came in here at night to help us clean and do whatever it needed. But instead, I decided to choose one person. And I chose her because she has lived in Newark her whole life, just like Sean did. Her father was a medical doctor who helped countless families in the city of Newark in this very house, the house that we hope to help people in the future. She grew up in this house. She ran up the stairs. She played on the porch as a child. She represents all of us today when she cuts this ribbon to begin a new chapter in this 120-year-old house. I'm very honored to invite Carol Peters to cut the ribbon to officially open Sean's house. We got ready for a ribbon cutter with no scissors? So this is good. This will get you guys all ready. So.
We wanted to give you options.
Ready? Wait. Hold on, I'll hold it. There you go. So just some housekeeping, so I wouldn't forget I wrote them down. Pictures are going to be taken care of in front of the house if you'd like your picture taken. You can take a tour of the first floor. Just please keep social distancing. You're part of the SL 24 team now, and we have shirts under the blue tent in the backyard. Take one. They're free. They're a small token of our appreciation for all that you guys have done. And then we have food here from Taverna. And we recommend the chicken calamari. It was Sean's favorite meal, and he and I broke bread many times over it. So I thank you so much for taking your time to be here today, and please enjoy the house in the backyard. Thank you.